What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Crafted Man podcast. I am your host, probably not with the most right now. This old dominant whiskey is getting to me, Corbin. And this week, my special guest, Mr. Emmanuel McKeever. Mr. McKeever, go ahead and talk to the people for a second.
Well, hello, world. What's going on, Corbin? How are you?
Man, I'm good. We go way back again. I'm bringing everybody back. We go way back. So this is basically my big brother, man. This dude has been a part of my life on the daily for a long time. So I'm glad to have you on the show. How's the weather up there? That's how I start every conversation.
Yeah, boy, look here. What I say is cold outside, I do mean it is cold outside. When they talk about layers, you need to go out looking like a burrito. That's exactly what they mean. You need to have on all kind of layers.
So it was 42 here today. What was it?
The hot, you know what? We actually got up. It was a balming 31 degrees.
Ooh. Are y'all, are they talking about that Arctic snap or whatever that's supposed to be coming the end of the week or whatever up there? I'm sure they are because they say it's sub-zero.
Oh, that's just, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, tomorrow, this is what they said. All right, whatever kind of shoveling that you want to do, because, you know, we've had snow on the ground, deep snow for 9 days now, 10 days. And we haven't been above freezing in 10 days. So tomorrow is supposed to be like 43. And then on the weekend, that's when the Arctic blast, I think it's going to start happening right after the Chiefs game. Because I think they say the kickoff time for the Chiefs game, which is Saturday at 3:30, 4 o'clock, it's supposed to be like 10 degrees. And then after that, we're supposed to be somewhere between negative 3 to negative 10 below, 3 below to 10 below for 2 days, 2 or 3 days. I think that goes Sunday and Monday, where they were already talking about, you know, they closed schools. Yeah, they closed schools around here last time.
Will dripping your faucets work, dude? Because I mean, that don't even sound like that would work for me.
Right. I mean, well, you know, being here, from what my wife told me, being in the Midwest, because she's from Midwest and I've only been here 10 years now, that the way they built these houses and the pipes, it's not like other places, you know, like Arkansas or Mississippi, for instance, is not really used to this. You have to drip your faucets. They make these faucets around here since everybody has basements or heaters and different things. Kind of keeps their pipes a little bit warmer. You know, now when they start talking about, you know, 10 degrees and below, you might want to go ahead and drip something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It starts getting below. They'll say drip it, but you don't have to like you would in other
like
regions.
If it's 25 or 30 here, like we dripped faucets for 3 or 4 days because it was 30, 31. But I guess your pipe's a little different.
Apparently so. and I'm thankful for it every day. And may it continue through the winter.
Oh, you ready to get into it?
Let's get into it, man. Let's do this, man.
All right, let's go on with the Boozy Breakdown. The Boozy Breakdown is 3 short stories. I emphasize short. That might make you want to take a drink. Again, this week, I'm drinking Old Dominick straight bourbon whiskey, made in Memphis, Tennessee. Nice oak barrel taste to it. But we're going to start with our first story. We're going to talk about Mr. Skip Bayless and the lawsuit that ensnared a couple people. So here we go.
A shocking new lawsuit claims Skip Bayless offered $1.5 million to a hairstylist in order to sleep with him. Skip allegedly pursued her despite being rejected, even bringing up Shannon Sharpe's name, saying, quote, "Why not me? He did it." The lawsuit also involves Joy Taylor. Her former friend claims Joy brushed her off when she tried to speak out about Skip's behavior. FS1's handling of this drama has raised some serious questions, including why Skip left without a proper farewell.
All right, so FS1, sir, does it stand for Freak Show 1, or what's really going on with Skip? I'll let you have the floor, and then I'll jump in with my little take here at the end. But what do you believe this is true?
Absolutely, without a doubt. You know, they talk about it. Now maybe this is the first of it at FS1, but then I think Marcellus Wiley alluded to like him having a lawsuit on his podcast. He kind of talked about that, and he talks about he wishes people would have read the lawsuit or the allegations made against him. Now I'm just going to just listening to him just because I'm not there. He's former FS1. You know, his opinion on it was he really can't, like, as far as Skip and the dynamics that goes on around there, like you talk about how the hairstylist, it's known that the stylists are all up in your grill, like it's a personal, like they invade your personal space. You know what I mean? Because they got to get to you doing the makeup.
Well, yeah,
And
they
and
give
it
him a
was
lot of
known
money.
that, yeah, and they said it was known that celebrities or you know, when you have talking heads or you got ex-football players, you know, these people in power, you know, it was a known thing that it might be a hookup.
Well,
And then when you talk
if you
about
look at this
you're
lady,
doing
she
something,
good.
you know, right. But, you know, but all in all, I believe it happened. But man, I heard something today from Jason Whitlock, you know,
Oh boy.
like him or love him, you know, but Marcellus Wiley was on his podcast and listen to his take. His take was they all joke around, and I can kind of see this now. You know, I'm not really a big Jason Whitlock fan. He can make you go, because he said how he twists the story. He said, now, you know how you and I are just joking and talking about, oh man, you know, I done messed around with so many women. Like, oh yeah, is that right? He was like, and the stylist is right there, right? And she was like, yeah, you couldn't have this for $1 million. He was like, yeah, I bet. Well, what if I offered you 1.5? Would you have sex with me then? You know, Chung and Teak talking, because the whole story is now, since he's been at FS1, his hairstylist and his wife are good friends. Now, I don't know what all that means for intents and purposes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means either, but yeah, I get what you're saying. So here's my take. Anytime you have let's just say non-corporate, and I know this happens corporately also, but you kind of have to sit through a lot of things when you are taking a job at a corporation. First of all, you're not making no money. They have the sexual harassment videos. You got to go through sensitivity training classes, all that type of stuff. So you're not more prone to do this. But when you're an athlete, you kind of say what you want, do what you want. When you are a TV personality like Skip was, you kind of say what you want, do what you want. I think this stuff is true. I looked into it a little bit from a different angle. I thought the hairstylists and makeup people and all that, I thought they made bank when they do this stuff, and they really don't. They're just slightly above the person that mops the floors. So from what I've also heard is you're kind of told not to really mess with the help, let's say, as an athlete, as an entertainer, as a talking head, let's say, because people sometimes think that they're trying to get a come up, which I agree. If I'm making janitorial money or I'm cutting the hair of somebody that makes $10 million, yeah, I flirt with them a little bit. You know, maybe he'll take care of me. At worst, he'll pull a Joy Taylor and fuck up and say something he don't need to. And now I got a lawsuit. So I think we're gonna address the elephant in the room in a second, so to speak. But I've always thought Skip was jealous of Shannon, man. Always.
Now, can I say this, Corbin?
You say what you want to say. You got the floor.
Here's another example. You know, I'm just going by people, former coworkers of that show or co-hosts or that have previous employees of FS1. I'm going back to what they were saying. In this situation, they said Skip was extremely jealous of Shannon. And then Shannon's name is being invoked in this along with this Skip, you know, and it's almost like now you putting Shannon's business out there in the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To where he was like, now there's allegations, allegedly, and I said it's about Shannon Sharp, but allegedly, like, he was jealous of the women that Shannon was sleeping with that were co-host or stylists on the show.
Well, if you think about it, Shannon's a single man. He's not married. Shannon can
Correct.
do what he wants.
And I don't like his name being invoked. Why? So, and now his name is being tossed around when he is on and gone. You never heard about him.
And Shannon ain't said nothing.
Right. You haven't heard anything about him messing around with Joy. You didn't hear nothing. I heard something again on the Jason Whitlock about Jenny Taft or something like that. You know, another co-host that used to
I remember Jenny.
Yeah, she used to fill in for Joy
Yeah.
when Joy wasn't there.
I think when you have a guy like a Skip Bayless and you look at his upbringing and where he's come from and his morals and values, so to speak, that stuff gets tested when you sit across from a dude every day that's coming at you with a story about a different. I'm sure he did some of this in front of Skip, talking to Joy, talking to Jenny, talking to whoever, you know, before the show, after the show, during commercial break, just saying something. And Skip wanted a piece of that action. And I don't think he had the game to get it. So he was going to try to come up.
Obviously not if they named the number 1.5.
So
1.5, brother. 1.5. That's what he said.
1.5. So my question about the 1.5, which I believe, was he gonna pay it all at once, or was it gonna be like a overtime type thing?
Shit, I was doing installments. Can I do $29.99 like we do on the streaming service a month?
Yeah. Because I remember the overheads, you know, folks your age and stuff say you shouldn't pay more than $40.
No. Look at here. No, sir. What?
Oh, you got anything else? Oh, we didn't even talk about Joy. First of all, let me start.
Oh man,
I don't.
Now you going for the juggler?
Don't care.
Going for the juggler. That's my heart.
No, I'm not. I would like. Never mind. This is not that show. I don't care. Whatever they did is between them. However they got ahead is between them. I don't really know why this is a story outside of the sexual harassment part. I don't think Joy Taylor's part has anything to do with anything. I don't think Acho, Shannon, none of these other people.
Right.
Sometimes,
because all their names have been invoked. This is the one thing I don't like. All their names have been invoked because of him. They like the collateral damage.
They are collateral damage. Now, is what they did right? No, but we do know in corporate America and in jobs that we've had, that people have been fooling around with other people. When you spend most of your time in certain small groups of people, stuff like that is bound to happen. You and I both know, we've seen it. We've seen it together, watching people. But it happens. It's not ethical. I'll get that. I'll tell you that. It's very unethical to do things like that. I could care less. It's not illegal. You got to use what you got to get ahead. I did wonder for a little while, like Joy was like a survivor every time they did cuts. So I was wondering what was going on then. But that was
right. And then with even with the cuts, like I just saw her moving up. But man, the thing about Skip is how to look this for Skip. First of all, he's an easy person to dislike because of his takes. And listening to another guy describe him as like that worked with him, that said he really seemed, what was his word? He said kind of off. No, he used the word that he thought that he was on the spectrum, because he would say something just out of the blue, like they were talking about. My wife was telling me about it, that they were talking about having some conversation about doing so many things, and out the blue, Skip talked about how many women he slept with, and that wasn't even the subject. Like out the blue, he just blurted it out.
I mean, would that mean you're on the spectrum, or would that mean that you just are highly uncomfortable and don't really know how to do this?
It could be all the above. I think it's all the above. I'm saying this one little thing. Not only that, the all the above, when you look at it, man, think about all the athletes. It's like he always was envious of athletes, and somehow or another he wanted to degrade them in one way or another. Look at how he's done. We got receipts. Look at how he's talked about LeBron Look
Yep.
about how he's talked about Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan is probably the only person that could do no wrong, and everybody else, his opinion, man, and bias, like not giving people their just due.
Exactly. That's exactly what I noticed. So, I say Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, the only two that are, you know,
Right.
unquestionable. You know, yeah.
Right.
And I'd never liked his take on athletes in the respect of you're either the greatest ever or you're garbage.
Right.
That I don't like that about the whole debate thing anyway. Now, any last thoughts on Skip Bayless lawsuit? You think they're going to settle?
Yeah. I have no idea.
You can't let this go to court.
Yeah. Hopefully he will settle. He probably will. And let him go away. I don't want to hear his name anymore.
Hey, ride off into the sunset until we read about you and you ain't here no more.
Right. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Okay. Now we're gonna take a break from old Skip. Whew. Next topic. This being a men-centered show, we're gonna talk about self-care. I know the last episode I did was about really mental health and Black men and mental health and ways to work on making yourself whole and keeping yourself whole. Do you have anything that you do as far as self-care goes? When you had a rough patch, long 3 or 4 days, life ain't life and right, or life is life and period. What do you do?
Man, I try to go get me a good little walk in, one way or another, just to walk downtown or crossroads, just to ease my mind. Let me get about 2 miles, get about a mile or 2 miles. It's not even fast walking, just where, I'm really not thinking about anything and just trying to focus, just take a deep breath.
Just take a deep breath.
And realize nothing is really that bad. You can overcome it some kind of way.
Yeah, good. Because I know for me, it's different times. I do different things. So I have a lot of self-care things that I've started taking baths, which I know ain't the most masculine thing to do, but I mean, it makes you feel a lot better. I get some Epsom salt and some hot water.
I miss it.
Put a little tea tree oil in the bath and just sit there. I mean, for me, growing up, a bath was you just wash yourself and get out. I mean, there's no reason to sit in a bath, to just let your muscles to just relax.
Oh, so are you saying you didn't do that as a child growing up?
Just sit in the tub? No, sir.
Oh,
man. A military household, sir. You waiting for 5 minutes.
So when I was in high school, especially by the time I made it to about the 9th or 10th grade, a lot of ball playing that I did, and just pretty much year round, from AAU to basketball to football. Man, that's what my mother used to have ready for me, or have right by the tub a thing of Epsom salt and hot water, to where I used to get in there and literally make the water hot as I could stand, and probably stand there for like 3 or 4 hours.
No,
shutting the heat.
Yep. I do that. I mean, I go all out. I pamper myself. I light some candles. I put on some jazz, and I'll get in that tub for a good 30, 45 minutes. And I just feel like whatever was weighing me down at that point is left in that water.
Yes.
And I do that. I do journaling sometimes. And sometimes I do go for walks. I find myself just walking around. We kind of work, where I work is kind of in a cul-de-sac. So, if I'm having a rough 3 or 4 hours, I'll just go outside and walk around the cul-de-sac, go down the street, and then walk back. But I intentionally try to just relax and then remember my place in all of this. As far as small, as big as we think we are, we're quite small. So, I don't try to solve every problem while I'm on my walk. I just try to be present, that type of stuff. So I have a list of things that I do, and it's really just availability. Sometimes I write, like podcasting has really been, or working on a podcast has really been something that I've enjoyed doing, talking to other people about stuff, talking to you about this. And that's kind of why I do this show, is to just get things out there, because guys don't do a lot of talking. We just suck it up and take it. And that's not, that's not a healthy way to live. That's why we die. So yeah.
Why do you think we do that? Is it with age? Because, when you were younger growing up, like what you were talking about, all these different avenues for self-care tips, you were so tight with your friends, and as you go, and I guess as we age and you have kids and different things, it kind of eliminates the talking. And I think what can get you back in that talking, depending on your religious affiliation, if you're a religious person, I think the church, or joining any type of group, or even like I found, like even when I do a little volunteer work, like even though it's within my job, the interaction that I'm having with different people I would never see at this job, and getting to know and talk to.
To answer your question, I think it's a society has trained us as men to not do this. When a girl has a problem, she can call her sisters, her friends, 4 or 5 of them might show up. They will boo-hoo, watch movies, eat ice cream, or go out, spend the night, do all types of stuff. They will do that from the age of 12 until they die.
The question is, why do we not do that?
But we don't do it because
as black men,
just as black men, or men in general, it's frowned upon. It's seen as weak because you can't handle your stuff, and that compounds the problem. You're not supposed to handle all your stuff by yourself. You need people. You need community. You need guys that are willing, and that's another thing. You got to share with the right dudes, because the minute you decide to open up, however long that takes you, because I know back for me 10, 12 years ago, just trying to open up was a 2-month process. I mean, it was hard for me to even open my mouth about what's going on for real. And you open up to the wrong dude, and they just says, man, you just weak as hell. That's all. Get your weak ass, get your punk ass up and go, that ain't helping you.
Right. Not giving you any solid direction or
Yeah,
anything.
you take advice.
Yeah. Right. You say, man, just get over it. Basically.
Yeah, that's how it is. You a man,
Yeah, you a man, just get over it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have feelings or anything else, or feel some type of way.
Yeah, exactly. Or they give you some super toxic advice that you really can't take. It's that type of thing. So I think as we get older, I think that community process is like you learn, you know better, so you do better. So you got to find a way to get those feelings and emotions and things like that out. And so for me, I always thought self-care was stupid. It was like dumb. You think taking a bath, going for a walk, writing a journal about what's going on with me is gonna help, but it does.
Right, and putting it in your notes, or you said, that the journal, the diary, the writing, walking, the taking a bath, swimming, anything that can get your mind in a positive direction.
Exactly. And let me say this: the club is not self-care.
No, you can't go up in there with somebody twerking now and talk about that self-care. No,
well, I mean, and that's kind of what I mean. Like going to a basketball game, a football game, that's just leaving your problems outside the door for a couple of hours to jump around, have a great time. But you don't feel no better. You just ain't dealing with it. That's really it. So self-care for me would always have to be something that positively affects you. You can think about those things. You can, go a little bit further, go a little bit deeper in your thought. Like how does this impact, the rest of my day? How can I better communicate with my wife, my kids? I need to call my grandma. I need to, things like that you can do where you don't feel overwhelmed by it. Maybe you just sit on a bench at the park and look at the birds if people watch. I mean, that works.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with bird watching. I'm telling you.
As long as you're in New York. Anyway, let's go to the next story. Next story is going to be about SEC football. So basically, what I want to hear from you is the dominance of the SEC in football, we are both big college football folks. Is that over with and done? If so, what killed it?
Yes. The SEC dominance is over. Hate to say it, I'm a SEC person. Oh my God, it kills me to even talk about it. Oh my God. The dominance, all you got to do is look at the last year, because the SEC is going to cannibalize itself in its own tournament, in its own league. And then if they have 1 or 2 games, that's top games now that you want to schedule to compound with the league, you ain't gonna make it. You're gonna be beat up come playoff time.
So what do you think killed it?
The NIL, the transfer portal. Yeah, you can no longer stock players. I mean, I hate that for the SEC. People know now they can go anywhere. They don't have to stick in the SEC in order to make it to the NFL. And then you paying me on top of that.
There was a time where Alabama's backfield was Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Kenyon Drake. Who won the Heisman that year? Mark Ingram. And there's one more.
And there was one more. You're absolutely right. And he played for a while in the league. I think his name began with the S.
Yeah.
You think of his name.
It was all 5 of them in the running back room. You had Tua, you had Jalen Hurts, and I'll throw Mac Jones in there. I mean, he ain't a starting QB, but he's a backup. You had all him in the same room. What the secret of the South was back in the day is they were always paying players. And I feel like, you could get a kid for $30,000. You could get a kid for a car. We know that. You could do that. That's how you would stockpile them. So your whole roster was $6-7 million max. Now you got to pay a quarterback $8 million for 1 year just to show up. And if that kid beats me out, I'm gone. I'm going somewhere else. I'll go play at Michigan. I'll go play.
That's
Kansas.
And that's what's going to rule out Alabama's still going to get some Alabama players. Don't get me wrong. But as far as going 3 and 4 deep, and we ain't even got to talk about this. Forget about the running back room. All you got to do is go look at the line, defensive line, offensive line. Go look at the NFL. The Philadelphia's defensive line is
good. Yeah. And that's the last time that's going to happen. But what SEC fan does not want to hear is Georgia, teams like Georgia, Alabama, just teams in the South in general, for the most part, do not have the money. They don't have the money to put together.
It's not even going to be the money now. I'm going to push back a little bit on the money.
Well, they don't have the money to put a $40 million roster together. I can tell you who can.
Well, no, but you know what? Even if you could, the problem you still gonna have now is when you go through the SEC and at all things fair and equal, your star players now, since you can't go 2 and 3 deep, when it come playoff time, let's just say, even if it was 5 teams that got in from the SEC, like I'm convinced now, especially after seeing this.
You talking about the schedule?
Yes. I don't believe any of them would have made it.
So I'm gonna give them a little background on how I thought about college football and how you thought about college football from a coach's perspective, and how you came around to my side, because I appreciate this. So my thought was I would never want to coach in the SEC. We had this conversation a couple years ago. I never want to coach in the SEC because that is a gauntlet. I have to play somebody. Let's say I got out of a 12-game schedule, there are 10 chances for me to lose. There are 10 shots at me losing. I would rather be Mike Gundy in the Big 12, or at that time somebody in the Pac-12 that I knew when I got, or the Big 10. When I knew I got my schedule, I got 2 to 3 games that I could actually lose. The rest of I'm going to go at least 9 and 3. And if I luck up and beat 2 of those teams, or we play well and win 2 of those games, I'm sitting pretty. I'm always looking to win in that way. You came from the perspective of you want to be challenged. You want to face that challenge every time. You want to go out and prove that you're the best.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's you, in order to be the best, you got to play the best. And in order,
And I told you,
you can't call yourself the best and the best that ever did it or the team that did it if you don't even play the best team, if you're not even matched up against the best team from the best conference and you win a championship and call yourself champion, but you never played X or Z like they did back in the 60s and 70s and got multiple people claiming championships. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but I will ask you this. That type of job is a meat grinder. You're going to be coaching for 5-10 years. I would ask you, how long has Mike Gundy been the coach of Oklahoma State?
Probably about 18 years, I think. 16 to 18, I think.
This is his 20th season.
20th? Yeah, I went too far off. I know it was something.
I would love to be Mike Gundy.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, you know.
Even Saban got out because he saw the writing on the wall. He knows that Alabama.
Well, also, Saban is not going to let a quarterback, a running back that's going to come to him first off before we even get to not playing or when you going to play or get your opportunity.
How much money?
He is not going for, man, how much money are you talking about? He showed up at your house like, dog, I know y'all Alabama. How much money we talking about? That right there, sit down.
I get that.
Because he is going in the new rooms, and that's the one thing he can't take that.
I agree. I wouldn't be able to take it either. But that's like also looking at your donor pool. What a lot of SEC fan bases do not understand. They think it's all about kids that want to come here. And we got the facilities and we won championships. We done this or that. Those people, you got to have millionaires to donate big money every year to do this NIL thing these days, right? So correct. You look at who has that. SMU. SMU was nowhere for 30 years. And now what? They in the playoff. And you know what? They only going to get better. They got billionaires at SMU. Not one or two, a bunch. Oregon, Phil Knight said he'll pay whatever. He wants to see him watch children.
So what's the holdback from Texas and Texas A&M?
Oh, there is none. They will get back. They will get back.
Because I'm trying to figure out. Are you trying to tell me?
I'm going to tell you the teams that I think Texas A&M. The teams that I think will be consistently in the playoff. The only two from the SEC are Texas and Texas A&M. Oh. But the schedule might jack them up.
That's what I think is going to get them every time.
But I think your Oregons, your SMUs, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Give me a school that cares about football that has a lot of money. Nebraska low key. Write this down. I'm glad I'm putting this out because in the next 3 to 4 years, Nebraska's going to hop up there. Because Nebraska.
So you saying Nebraska gonna go back to the days of Tommy Osborne and Tommy Frazier?
No. I'm gonna say what I'm trying to say is a 12-team playoff. You're gonna see a lot more Nebraska in there. You're gonna see a lot more. Oregon's always gonna be. You're gonna see a lot more SMU in there. This is what you do with it.
As far as Nebraska, I don't know, man. I'm gonna push back, man. I had to see.
That's good because I'm out here making a statement. That's why
I can't see it for Nebraska. You in the Big Ten, they ain't overcoming. See, one thing I know about this is they're not gonna ever put more than 4 teams for one conference in, right? So you're in that. So right now I'm just talking about as it stands.
You're probably right. You're gonna get 4 teams.
If it stands at 12, because I think it needs to stay right here. I don't think it should go any higher.
I think in the next 5 years, SMU is going to run the ACC.
And they probably should.
And they should, but they got the money to do it. You have the money to miss. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I have the money to miss.
And the reason why I'm talking about Nebraska pushing back on that is because you just mentioned Oregon. you know damn well Michigan is not about to fall off and lose to nobody. Then you still got Ohio State. And I guess people just forgot Michigan State gonna get back in the mix.
No, they're not.
Michigan
They ain't
State,
got the money.
man, State getting back into the mix.
I'm gonna tell you, in the old school era of football, yes, I would agree. But I'm gonna say the Big Ten is very good at doing their schedules. You only gonna play 2 of them, so if I go 10-2, I'm making the playoff.
Right.
So Oregon, see, the thing about the Big Ten versus the SEC, the Big Ten, you're gonna play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, but you're not gonna play them all the same year.
No, and you still ain't mentioned Penn State, all that, and you're not going back to back. See, that's the difference.
And then you're not gonna play them a full month of that. You're gonna play Michigan week 2, then you're gonna play Ohio State week 8.
Right.
I mean, you might play Oregon if you play all 3 in your last game. It ain't gonna be.
It's the same
back to back.
situation with how you're not going. See, it's still not even fair. Like, since I live in Big 12 country, like I can't even compare Big 12 to SEC because they not like that. I cannot name a conference and that's the reason why I said I'm not saying that these are better conferences either. I'm not saying that they even got better players. But overall, I'm gonna tell you. Well, I will say, let me take that back. They do have. Ohio State has the best. They have the better players.
Where are they from, though?
Collective team.
Where they from? Are they from Ohio?
No.
They got a lot of Florida on there.
Yeah, but that's just like Oregon. Oregon has sold up California.
Yep.
If you're a fast person in California, instead of going to USC or UCLA, you are at Oregon.
Because of who? Because Phil Knight can pay whatever.
Right.
They don't mind saying, yeah. I know you coach at Oregon.
Right.
How much money we talking about?
Oregon really then became the SEC of the West.
Yeah, and I think
because they got them players like that.
Until they cap what you can spend, of course, there's going to be some things that you got to do. Until they cap it, it ain't. Nothing's changed.
All right, take the money out of it. What to me? You take the money out of it now, because the money is gonna work itself out. The problem to me is the transfer portal. That may be a whole nother subject to tackle another time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I got in that transfer portal. It's been good to me.
Well, that's just it, man. You can't have, like, I can't remember which team was real quick that won 9 or 10 games or something first time in school history. I can't remember what it was. There was a quarterback that got him there, and he was in the portal.
Oh yeah. I mean, that happened a couple times.
And he didn't play in the bowl game. He was in the portal. He didn't lead this team. And to me, when you transfer like that, like, why wouldn't you stay there and embrace that? Like, okay, we won 9 games this year. What can I do next year?
You know why? And somebody else called saying I can pay you more, and the portal's open. And you open the portal twice a year.
What's eventually about to happen, when people gonna find out now, is just like when we, playing spades or dominoes, when they tell you all money ain't good money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See, some of these folks is finding out that's transferring like 3 times, 4 times, and then you find out.
Well, they gonna stop all that.
This 27-year-old, this is a senior. He's a 6-year senior, a 7-year senior.
Yeah, COVID really messed a lot up, man. Because a lot of these 27-year-olds playing defensive tackle. I mean, like, come on, bro. I look at it like they are going to eventually, I would think in the next 2 to 3 years, fix it to where your athletes are employees. They got to sign contracts for X amount of time, and there's going to be a cap on what you can spend. There just is. There has to be.
Yeah.
And if I'm Oregon or if I'm Ohio State, Notre Dame, I don't want that. Or SMU, I don't want that. I let me open my wallets. But man, this has been a good show, man. We about 45 minutes deep. So the topic, we just got to the topic now. Topic this week is just basically going to be going over 2025 plans. And I just got a couple questions I just want to ask you. Because I know that you are an intentional person. You're like the guy that I model myself after with my level of intention and wanting to be more intent about what I do and how I do it. How did 2024 go for you? Just overall, I mean, personally, financially, whatever you want to throw in there.
It started off at the beginning of the year as a pretty good year. And I would say, on the positive note, seeing my kids graduate high school was a really, really high note for both of them. And then my daughter graduating with honors was really, really a high note. Being with my family, my wife, first of all, I couldn't be more happy. My wife was happy, just as happy as I was. And that pretty much was the real highlight, coming into starting off the year, and then looking forward to their next chapter in life, starting college, my daughter just knocking out her first semester of college. My son is eventually going to go to, I believe he's starting this semester at junior college. So, outside of a few family deals and ordeals and everything, man, it overall, man, it was a pretty good year. It could have been better. It ended on a down slope, and I think in November with the election. But it's all about self-care. That probably was a low moment. Like, again, like I felt like, just as minute you feel like you taking 5 steps forward or something like that, like you trying to move ahead, and then you see like you didn't fell back like 20 steps.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I do understand that. So 2024 for me, I was honestly just rolling with the punches. Like, I know we've talked about it, and I looked at that year as it just making it to now is what I wanted to do. So, and I've done that, so I do feel better about it. Of course, I don't watch news on TV anymore. I made that decision about a year ago.
I remember that, and I haven't watched it since the election.
And I don't like to put myself in the mind frame of constant panic. And I hate the fact that in this society, right or wrong, whether it's true or not, I feel like my life is, what's the word, in danger every 4 years based on voting. Now, some of that has got to be, I feel it. Some of it's true. Other parts, I think is just hype. And like we talked about, we've done this before, so this really don't bother me. What are some of the things you do to help you going into the new year? Like, do you do a vision board? I did my word for this year. I didn't do a vision board, and I was trying to figure out kind of what I wanted to do. So going into the year, even actually, I think it was like a week ago, was, what did I write down? It's going to be authenticity. That's my word for I want to be authentically me and show up as me in as many spaces as I can. And once I started realizing that I don't in a lot of spaces, how do I bring myself authentically into that space and be who I am? Because, in professional life, you can't just be you. That's not realistic. But how much?
So why do you think you can't just be you?
Well, I think it's professionalism for a reason. So professionalism says that you have to, like, every office has a dress code. Every office has times you got to be there, times you get to leave. Every office has a code of conduct. Like, if I could walk around in sweatpants and a t-shirt all the time, I would. That's what I mean. That's me. When I dress up, I do look nice, but I'm kind of more of a bohemian dude. I wear a bunch of bracelets and necklaces and stuff like that, but it's not the most professional look for, my job. I would say this: if you saw me, now you may not think less of me or whatever. You saw me on a Tuesday at work versus a Saturday afternoon, either at my house or at a spot listening to some music or downtown at the farmer's market, yeah, you will get 3 different looks, vastly different. And so you know, I understand, and it's that way for everybody. I'm not saying me being professional requires only me to do this. I feel like it's you standardize professionalism. You have to look a certain way. You know, could I go into work with a polo and some jeans? Yeah, I can do that. Or I could, you know, go into work with slacks and a tie and a shirt. I could do that. But neither one of those is really me. That's
Now, what if I told you could? Now, since you said being more of your authentic self, what if I said, all right, here's a job where you can come and dress what you just said. You can come in a t-shirt and sweats, or, you know what I'm saying? You know, they make sweats now that kind of look like golf pants. I got a pair.
yeah. You got a pair too. I've been sliding through them. I've been
Right.
Hey,
Or
I'm fine.
shirt. Or let me just say this, or, you know, just some shoes or whatever, you know, something that's,
I got some dress shoes with some tread on it, like you can go play ball in, like for real.
right. Well, when you talk about that, I'm just talking about like you can just wear any type of sneakers or what you just said, a t-shirt. What if I told you I had a job like that for you? What else would prevent you from being more
Oh,
authentic?
no, that all would be it. That would be it. Now, like in my being, in my person, in my conversation, person to person, I feel like I'm super authentic. I feel like I am me. But I also feel like, you know, how I show up in my line of work is really not for me, is more for the people that I work with, the businesses that I work with, things like that. So I do have to show up a certain way. I mean, I can't, I want to earn your business. You know, I have to look a certain way, and I get that, and I understand that. Like if you're in the military, you got to wear a uniform. You can't just show up in slacks in a polo.
And you know what? To me, who made up that rule?
Yeah, nobody says you have. I mean,
Who
somebody said you had to, and we just went with it.
Right. Who said that you had to? Who necessarily said this is the professional way that you have to conduct business when most business are conducted as far as big business on the golf course?
And I look at this.
Or between drinks.
My wife opened my eyes to this. Like she says, how come you can't a lot? Or why not? Or who said you had to do that?
Now there is a company out there that's the reason why I asked you about as far as is it only a job? Because you know the job I work at, they wouldn't make it if they didn't. Like it's obvious they want you to be your authentic. Matter of fact, they pride themselves on. That's one thing they pride themselves on. You come and being your authentic self, and you can be a part of any type of community or organization, just like different chapters that they may have, like a DE. Let's just say people that hate the DE&I, but then there's a whole section for like Black Action Network, you know, or Asian multicultural, you know what I'm saying, or Pride, or the LGBTQ. And then when you come to work, you're wearing tennis shoes and jeans or tennis shoes and sweats, and you're active, like you're making deals, you're dealing with network, IT, that type of stuff.
Well, I feel like we're moving
with that. For people that you said that for people just like you, like I want you to be authentic because I need you to make me that money.
Yeah, I want you to be comfortable so you can.
Right.
And you know what?
Comfortable.
Now that I think about it, I'm the dude. Honestly, going forward here, I'm gonna be the guy that makes that decision. So how come I can't?
Like when you come to my job, man, you can never judge it. You don't know who a director or senior manager or a VP. And and I'm telling you, and the people that you would probably think that may look nice, they may be the lowest person on the totem pole, and the person that's walking around with a T-Mobile shirt on, T-shirt, and some Jordans, you know what I mean, and a hat on.
Now, see, I really believe, now that I've thought about it, when you said like who made that up, I really believe at some point somebody said this is how you do it.
Right.
And that whatever their thoughts was around that just got pushed down.
So was that does it goes back to the whole other subject of history, going back to the early days, the European days?
Well, I mean, that it could be anything. Like I literally just a few minutes ago was in the mindset that I just told you I have to do this way. In 2 weeks, I make that decision.
Right.
And I'm still in the mindset of I need to do it this way.
See,
I
that's
can change that.
and see, my word, that I was thinking about when I see this, just thinking of a word, what you try to do, and I saw that you put thrive at the top, and I was thinking thriving, but I was like, you know what, I just want to flourish and feel empowered, and what does that mean? Emphasizing growth and positive development, that type of thing. And then, and having some more confidence, and having more positive interactions. Cause they always say you are who you hang around. Let that shit sink in.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And I think sometimes when things aren't going right or well, it's good to have somebody that says, hey, I've been there, one. Or you can have somebody I'm here with you, bro. I mean, I don't have an answer at all. And I'll listen.
Hey, that's just like what you just said. It goes back to what we tied all that together. I call you sometimes. I may not say it. It makes my day better. I might have had a bad day. Let me call Corbin, see what he got going on, because I know he got something interesting. Takes my mind completely off of whatever I was thinking about.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that we don't look at as men in general. Is like the world makes it think, okay, if I come to you with a problem, we need to have a solution. But sometimes here, I don't have a solution, but I'll sit with you down here.
Right.
And until we figure something out, it's not my problem, it's your problem. But, I'll stand out in the rain with you till we get it worked out. Something like that. So we find an umbrella or something. Anything you have beginning or ending this year? And that's to be like a plan that you're trying to put in place. Or
the plan that we're just basically trying to put in place is my wife and I. We're trying to get financially squared away. Just really take a deep dive in finance and see how we can move forward, and how some different things that's really gonna make us happy. And the main thing is our health. We're into living a healthy life.
Good. I mean, that is awesome, because I know how in depth you are about stuff like that. And I think, having a goal or something that you either completed, something you can look back on, be proud of, and say, hey, I got through that, or I paid this off, or, I did the 75-day challenge and it just ended. I feel, something you can feel good about.
Right.
Right. Use that to springboard into something else.
And that's how it always goes. And that's when that creative juices everything flowing. Like, oh, I'm back on goal setting. I'm getting to goals that I want to accomplish.
Exactly. What do you guys do to break up like monotony of day-to-day life? Because you go to work, come home, you can look up, lose a month.
We'll try to go. We'll try to go. Go look. Let's go listen to some music. Let's go bowling. Let's go to Top Golf. Do something a little bit different. We go every now and then. That's not something we do all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to break up monotony every day.
Right. But you do get in a routine. We see like getting up and leaving at the same time, same day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming home and then try to do something else, and then you realize like, oh man, it's Friday and I've done the exact same thing. Let me change this up. And I think a change is good. You need change.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps you alive. It gets you out of that. I look at it, for me, I can go 2 or 3 months head down, and then you look up and it's like, wow, it went from October to January.
Right.
You just got to try to think back to what did I do? For us, it's more experience based. I think it is for you too. We just want to have a good experience somewhere, do something. Everything that you said, listen to music, go to Top Golf, go to the Mexican spot, hang out. That type of stuff is experience based. It's not, I want to pay $5,000. I want to pay $6,000 to go do this. I want to do this. It's experience based. You want to have a good experience.
And see, and I think that's when I should have threw in the art shows and going to the ballet, listen to more intentional like symphony things, like going to the plays, Broadway musical, like we went to Funny Girl, that type of thing, something that shakes up the day-to-day life. Like, oh, this this still goes on. And I think that was the thing that how we kind of, you know, not dwelling on the election, but like trying to move forward. Like, man, I'm not about to let nothing around me destroy our peace and happiness. We got to keep moving forward despite whoever else is in office. We can't control that. We can only control.
And I think what you'll find is you're gonna have a good time, find your happiness no matter what.
Right. And I strongly encourage everyone to have
something. Yeah, you can't have your mind dwelling on who's gonna hurt you or harm you and the way the world's working. Find people that love you, find your community, and
find you something that's your happy place.
Yeah.
Like I realize where my happy place is sometimes. And it's really working out, walking or riding a bike, anything outdoors where it's a little physical activity.
Exactly. Last question, man. Saying no, is that as important as saying yes to you, to things? Because for me, I used to have a very hard time telling people no. I tell people no all the time before they even finish asking something.
Hey man, my wife and I were talking about that. Saying no is hard, but sometimes, you know, as we like to say, man, you got to set boundaries. You have to say no. And some people find it difficult to tell certain people no. You know, I can cite different examples. I got a buddy of mine. He just will not say. He knows he does a lot for a lot of people. He is just like you. He's one of the best brothers I know. Give you the shirt off his back. But he also goes over it. Like if he see you need something done, he's like, oh, you want me to help you with that? Then the next thing you know, they called him asking him for all kind of other stuff. It's like, well, I can't really do that because he did something for him one time out the kindness of, niceness of his heart.
Yeah, give me an inch to take a mile.
And he was complaining. He would complain to me about that so much to where I was like, Bobby, you got to start saying no. And it might be some of my own family members, you know, that would call and ask him different things, you know, just because they knew he was my buddy. And he would call and complain to me. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. I was like, man, you got to just tell them no. You just can't do it. You ain't got to say yes. And and I told him, and you do not owe them an explanation.
Nope.
That's what kind of good person he is. Like he does not want to hurt anybody's feelings.
No is a full sentence.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, he just started saying it now though.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I know I told you 45 minutes. We're an hour in. So anything you want to say before we end the show?
No, man. Hey, I can't wait to come back again on this one and the show after dark. Don't let it be a couple of years in advance because I think it's been about 4 years now. 3 years.
Man, I ain't gonna.
It's our last show.
This is not our. Yeah, it's been about 3-4 years since I.
But I'm gonna do better too. Do better, and I'm gonna do better in 2025. That's my motto. I'm doing better all the way around.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about that other one. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit about finding time for yourself. As a man, it's something that we almost never do. So let's pour out our shot. Raise your glass and toast to finding rest and relaxation as much as we can in a day-to-day life. See you next time. Cheers.